You know, when you think about marketing, it's easy to picture someone just shouting the loudest, right? But that's not how it works anymore. Not really. It's about who listens the hardest. So today, we're going to open up the playbook and see how the smartest companies out there are winning by focusing on people, not just pushing products.
This quote, man, it just nails it. We get so caught up in thinking marketing is all about these massive, complex spreadsheets and big data. And sure, that stuff has its place. But the real breakthroughs, the ideas that save a company millions of dollars, they usually start with something way simpler, just understanding people. It's about finding those huge, fatal flaws with a couple of Post-it notes before you go and spend a fortune building something nobody actually wants. All right, so to really get to the heart of this, we've got to redefine what marketing even is in the first place. I want you to just forget that old cliche of the fast-talking salesperson, okay? Because it's a whole different ballgame now. Okay, so check this out. This is Rachel Kaur. Her job is pretty cool. She works with Mark Cuban's Shark Tank Investments to figure out if an idea actually has legs. And you might think her tools are some kind of super complex software, right? Nope. Her secret weapons? A whiteboard, a stack of Post-it notes, and just talking to people. She gets the ideas out there, moves them around, and the most important part, she talks to actual real human beings to understand their experience before a single dollar is spent on development. And this whole approach, it's not just random. It's a core business philosophy called the marketing concept. And here's the absolute key. It completely flips the old way of doing things on its head. You see, the old way was create a product, then figure out how to sell it. This new way, you start by deeply, and I mean deeply, understanding what your customers actually need and want, and only then do you build the product that perfectly solves their problem. And this isn't some vague, fluffy idea either. It's a really concrete three-step process. First, you have to be almost obsessive in your focus on what customers need. Second, you integrate every single part of your company, I'm talking engineering, sales, you name it, to work towards that one goal. And the result? Well, you hit your big long-term goals, not by pushing a product down someone's throat, but by genuinely satisfying a real need.
Okay, so having a customer-first philosophy is great. We get it. But how do you actually do it? How do you execute on that? Well, you need a master plan. And that plan starts with a basic set of tools. And here they are. This is the classic marketer's toolkit, the 5 Ps. The best way to think about these is like 5 key levers you can pull to make things happen. You've got your product, your price, the place you sell it, and your promotion. But then there's that 5th one, people. And this one is so important. It was actually added later when everyone realized that the person delivering the service or experience is often just as important as the product itself. But here's the thing. There's a catch, a big one. These 5 Ps, they are completely, utterly useless if you don't know who you're aiming them at. I mean, you could have the most perfect product at the most perfect price, but if you're trying to sell it to the wrong people in the wrong place, it's going to fail every time. That who we're talking about, that's your target market. And let me be clear, your target market is never everyone. It's a specific, really well-defined group of people. And figuring this out is probably the most important step you can take because it stops you from just wasting your money shouting into the void at a bunch of people who are never going to buy from you anyway. And check this out because this is a perfect example of the power of a target market. Frito-Lay. They make Fritos, Doritos, and Tostitos. At their core, they're all kind of the same thing, right? Flavored corn chips. But look at how they market them. Fritos, they're for 30 to 50-year-old guys who just want hunger satisfaction. Doritos, that's for teens, all about being bold and daring. And Tostitos, that's for more upscale baby boomers, positioned as a social food. It's brilliant. Same company, similar products, but 3 totally different stories for 3 totally different groups of people.
All right, so you know who you're talking to. Now you got to give them a reason to choose you over everybody else. And that reason, that's your competitive advantage. But here's the key. It's not what you think is special about your product. It's what your target market sees as way, way better than all the other options out there.
And you usually win in one of 4 ways. You can be the cheapest. Think Walmart. That's a cost advantage. You can just have a way better product. Think Apple. That's product differentiation. You could offer an unbelievable experience, like Zappos with their customer service. That's service differentiation. Or you can just totally own one tiny corner of the market, serving a specific niche better than anyone else. Okay, so we've been talking a lot about the company's strategy. Let's flip the camera around for a second. Because to really truly succeed, you have to get inside your customer's head. You have to understand exactly how they make a choice. Just think about the last thing you bought. I don't care if it was a cup of coffee or a brand new car, you went through this exact 5-step process, whether you realized it or not. First, you recognized a need. Then you started looking around for information. After that, you evaluated your alternatives. Then you finally made the purchase. And last, you did that little post-purchase assessment where you decide if you made the right call. And boom, this brings us right back to Rachel Kerr. Remember her? When she went to those fraternity parties to check out beatbox beverages, she wasn't just there to hang out. No way. She was doing real-world research on step 3, evaluating alternatives. She wanted to know, how do students in that specific environment choose what to drink? What are their other options? Getting that kind of insight, that's marketing gold. All right, so let's see how all these pieces, the customer focus, the strategy, the psychology, let's see how it all comes together to solve a real, actual business problem. So I want you to imagine this for a second. You've got a product, it's got let's call it a major perception problem. It's healthy, it's innovative, but your customers are kind of weirded out by it. They're hesitant. What do you do? Well, this is exactly what Rachel Kerr and her team did for a company called Chapool. The research was crystal clear. People were just plain weirded out by the idea of eating crickets. So what did they do? They changed the name from Chapool Cricket Bar to the Aztec Bar. They got rid of the logo with the insect on it and replaced it with a clean, modern design. And they totally shifted the focus to the benefits. Great flavor, tons of protein. Get this, they didn't change a single ingredient. They just changed the story. And you know, the work is never really done. Why? Because every single product goes through a life cycle. You start at the introduction phase. Then you hit that rapid growth stage where competitors start popping up. Eventually, you reach maturity where sales peak. And then there's the inevitable decline. And the biggest takeaway here is this. The marketing strategy that worked for you in the growth phase is not going to work in the maturity phase. You have to adapt constantly at every single stage. So where is all this headed, right? In this hyper-connected world we live in, how are these classic ideas evolving? Well, the future seems to be heading towards something called one-to-one marketing. But what's so cool about this is that it's not really a new idea at all. It's actually the ultimate fulfillment of that marketing concept we talked about at the very beginning. It's about creating a perfectly tailored, unique experience for every single customer. And the engine that makes all this possible? It's big data. Think about it like this. Back in the day, the only person who could remember your favorite kind of coffee and make a personal recommendation was the guy at the corner store, right? Well, today, all that data and analytics allows a giant company like Amazon to do that exact same thing, but for millions and millions of people all at once. It's that same old-fashioned personal relationship, just supercharged by technology. So I want you to try something. The next time you choose one brand over another, just stop for a second and ask yourself, why? What target market do I fit into for them? What was their competitive advantage that won me over? And maybe most importantly, what's the story that brand is telling me specifically? Because at the end of the day, the best marketing today, it doesn't even feel like marketing. It just feels like someone finally gets you.